the spinothalamic tract. I'm going to discuss about the lateral spinothalamic tract, which carries the pain and temperature sensations. That's one of the easiest tracts because by location you can see that it lies in the lateral aspect of the spinal cord, the red color, and it maintains its position throughout the spinal cord, the same red color on the lateral side, and even anywhere in the brainstem you will see that on the lateral side. See here, the red one. So it's fairly simple. Once you know from where it comes and where it goes, the location is not a problem at all for us. You can imagine that any lesion on the lateral side of the spinal cord will damage the spinothalamic tract. Maybe let's look at the mini model for better details. Now remember, in the sensory tracts, any sensory tract, we have something called first order neuron, second order neuron, and the third order neurons. If you see at the back, here is the dorsal root ganglia, and that's a sensory nerve entering the spinal cord. That nerve terminates in the posterior horn of the spinal cord, and that's called the first order neuron because it comes and stops. One order finished. From the dorsal horn, you get a new set of neuron starting and forming the tract, ascending up. This is the second order neuron. The second order neurons will eventually terminate in the thalamus, from where the third order neuron will come, which we will see in a while. Now further details. We have seen the dorsal root ganglion bringing in the sensory neuron. See what happens there. The nerve is not directly entering the spinal cord. It's not entering like this. Okay. Instead, he enters the spinal cord, ascends in the gray matter, and then goes to a particular level. That part of the posterior horn in which these fibers are ascending before they reach their level of destination is called the dorsolateral tract of Lisar, or the Lisar's tract. Whereas where they terminate, or in other words, where you find the second order neurons originating, that part of the posterior horn is called the substantia gelatinosa, which we saw earlier, and that plays a major role in pain sensation, substantia gelatinosa. That's why I am talking about that in the spinothalamic tract. I didn't really worry about that when we talked about the other tracts. Fine. What is happening to the tract? Remember always, the second order neurons will decussate. The first order neuron stayed in its own place. The third order, wherever it starts, it will go to the same side, whereas the second order neurons are decussating, going to the opposite side, forming the spinothalamic tract, which means pain from the right side of the patient is immediately taken to the opposite side in the spinal cord, and it is traveling along the left side. If you injure the left side of the spinothalamic tract, there will be loss of pain and temperature sensation on the opposite side of the body because it's coming from the opposite side. Now there is a bit of extra detail if you are aiming for a distinction. See, imagine we are at the T5 level here. You can see that the pain fibers originating from T5 level is not crossing at the T5 level. It's ascending. It crosses obliquely and feeds into the spinothalamic tract. Maybe this could be a T6 or a T7 level. That means if a patient is having an intractive severe pain at the level of T5 and you are planning a neurectomy surgery, that means you are aiming to cut the spinothalamic tract to stop the pain sensation, you can see that we cannot cut at the same level. You should be going a couple of levels higher. Only then, if you cut the tract, you are stopping the pain sensation going to the brain. Quickly looking at the entire pathway, you can see that at any given level of the spinal cord, the pain fibers originating from one side cross almost immediately and then they ascend all the way through the brainstem to go to the top. The fibers which crossed form the second order neurons. That means the tract itself is the combination of second order neurons, and they all go to stop in the thalamus. To be specific, that is the VPL, or the ventro-posterolateral nucleus of the thalamus. Neurons from the VPL originate and go to the cortex. This is called the third order neuron. Where do they go? They go to the post central gyrus. In other words, that's the somatosensory cortex.